Hi, my name is Ramos. I like to hear about reparations in making black people economically viable, because I don't think black people care what you call them, what you think about them. If we want an economic footing, it wouldn't matter. And I think sometimes we get caught in apologies and things that aren't tangible. I think there should be a commission made to examine reparations and what black people owed in this country, not only from slavery, but going up into the 40s with illegally seized land, all types of stuff. And I'd like to hear about that. The other.
We can talk about that on the other end and bracket it, and we can also talk about it in the small group. But we want to try to keep this like to about 2 minutes, because we're going to break down, then we're going to come back together. But we've got Francine, and then we have this gentleman.
A couple of things I want to remind us when we talk about how Tim Weiss articulated the situation, that he was very clear at the beginning that everything that he was articulating he learned from people of color. So I want to remind us of that, what he said at the beginning. And I appreciate the comments from behind me. And one of the things I appreciated is his emphasis on the economic piece of all of this. And to bring it up to today, how much of the bailout, who is that going to benefit? So it's very relevant to right now, today.
Hi, I'm Jim, and I'm a Catholic priest. Because of my particular history, I've dealt with the issues that Mr. Wise has brought up on both sides, and not really new, but the last thing he said really touched me, and that is the question of guilt. So that's going to cause me to do a lot of thinking.
Wow. Okay.
So what we'd like right now is to ask if you would break up into groups. Looks like there are about 40 people here. Groups of about 10. We have 4 people to facilitate. If there are some other people who are interested, Francine, if you would be interested in facilitating, you don't have to. But we can have okay, 4 groups of about 10 people each. If you'll just make circles, and we've got a few questions we think, like the questions you've been addressing. For example, our first question is, what are the real questions we have to deal with? Okay? So if you'll do that right now, that would be great.
Oh, we got everything going, old, young, white, black, everything that keeps us divided. We pointed out so many of them.
My name's Judy, and what I got out of it, I mean, one point that hits my family, is after the election, Barack Obama becoming president. Well, there's my sister and I, Caucasian, and then she married a Mexican American, and so Angela, my niece, she is Mexican American. She married an African American. But here, my sister and I are we're trying to explain what happened in the '60s to them. They captured the power of what it seems some of the older, whether white or black, red, blue, pink, I don't know. But it was like, that's what them about some of the things that have gone on. So their world, they haven't quite seen what's coming out. And I think they would like, it would be great for them to see this.
My name is Charles. I thought it was very educational, the film itself. I think it was right on time with time to where I am. You all recall this last week, the question came up, we need to be talking about racism, and I think the Attorney General made a statement saying that he used the word cowards, we don't talk about it. Well, I think the film itself is very good, very educational, but what I was looking for was, to talk about, to bring these things we all are aware, live on to understand this, but solutions, which we are different, but let's talk about how we can learn from each other's culture and build on it. Thank you.
I've been teaching what Tim Weiss has been saying for a number of years as a religious studies professor, and so I understand this as a white professor teaching about white privilege in a classroom with 500 students every semester.
come out of your group that really happened to have heard or learned?
One of the things that I learned in my group was there may be a little bit of difference in the way the black generation view racism and how it is evolved. I think both generations recognize the racism, but I think we just kind of look at it from different angles. And so I think it's not a bad thing. Just I hope that we could all understand that we're all fighting for the same thing. There's a different type of racism that we've experienced. You know, racism is just as pervasive now as it was then. It's just a lot more subtle. It comes from different angles, different. The laws are designed. They're still racial laws. Like one person mentioned the difference in the crack cocaine laws and the processed cocaine laws and the sentencing rules. One of the other guys in our group was working the course, and he's seen this. The laws they are still just as racist, just that they're not blatantly and brutally racist like they were in the 60s, where they were just a big sign that said colored passengers use rear seats. Now it's a lot more subtle. So the racism is subtle, and so I think that it's still there, but I think we're looking at it from we saw it thrown at us and signs, and now it's kind of snuck in on type of stuff.
When it comes to the different generations, I think instead of having, or personally as a youth, I feel like the baton is not being passed in a way that is as lucrative as it could be. I think that there tends to be the same kind of, well, maybe not the same, but a very similar mentality of, older generations are a little more economically stable. They have a little more to lose, and so it's almost like now that they're in those positions.
They just want to calm you down.
They want you to not have as much fire in your belly, or they want you to be quiet because you're gonna mess it up. And it's almost like Tim Wise was saying that how they did the lower and middle class white people. You can come fight in our army, you can come work, you won't be a slave, but we'll give you this job, and then that group of people helps the system to keep killing themselves off. And I feel like that's what's happening with the different generations of black people in America, or maybe all over the world. The older generation has gotten certain things at the hands of from the government, and they've taken on an attitude of just like, for some reason the younger generation's cause is not as worthy or something, And I brought up the example of Oscar Grant and how, really hurt by that situation, and I'm even more hurt by the fact that in a city where the Black Panthers are, and Angela Davis, who teaches and lives there, and just all these older generations of power and knowledge weren't there, And then as soon as the media started criticizing the youth about the riots, then it was like, the first person they showed on TV was a older black business owner who was just talking so bad that she couldn't understand why, the youth would do that to their so-called own community. And I feel like that same attitude is killing us, in every institution, in every neighborhood, whether it's in Fresno or Oakland. And if we could just stop thinking like that and jump into the defense of why we can't show up to